Ladies and gentlemen, we journey today to a place where history whispers from the very earth beneath our feet, where the echoes of the past still resonate in the gentle rustle of leaves. Welcome to Fort Lee Historical Park, nestled on the majestic cliffs of the Palisades in New Jersey. As the sun climbs over the horizon, casting its golden light upon the Hudson River, we find ourselves at a 33-acre sanctuary of history and nature. Here, where General George Washington and his Continental Army once stood, we pay homage to the birth of a nation. Our tour begins at the Visitor Center, a treasure trove of knowledge and relics from the Revolutionary War. Within its walls, we learn of the strategic importance of this very spot, where the first signs of independence were etched into the annals of history.
August 22nd, 1776. Protected by the powerful British fleet, General William Howe's troops land on the shore of Long Island at Brooklyn. August 27th. Howe attacks Washington's troops in advance of the Brooklyn fortifications and defeats them at the Battle of Long Island. Howe fails to follow up and loses the chance to destroy the entire American army at Brooklyn. The night of August 29th, Washington silently withdraws his army from Long Island to concentrate his forces in Manhattan. With the possible loss of New York imminent, Washington moves his troops to Upper Manhattan and New Jersey to strengthen the blockade of the Hudson. September 15th, Howe crosses the East River, invades Manhattan, and occupies New York City. Washington's troops flee inland and regroup on the hills of northern Manhattan. September 16th, they fight the British in a skirmish called the Battle of Harlem Heights, which gives them some heart after the retreat of the previous day. A month of inactivity follows, with the Americans and British facing each other across a valley which is now 125th Street. October 12th, Howe's troops move up the East River to Throgs Neck. 6 days later, they cross the Hutchinson River to Pell's Point, brush aside a small force of Americans on the Split Rock Road, and converge on New Rochelle, and then towards White Plains. Meanwhile, Washington moves a major part of his army from Manhattan to White Plains, where an indecisive battle occurs on October 28th. Washington then retreats to North Castle and later crosses the Hudson for New Jersey. Howe, on November 5th, moves to Dobbs Ferry with plans to overwhelm Fort Washington. November 13th, Washington arrives at Fort Lee and discusses evacuating Fort Washington with Major General Nathaniel Greene, the area commander. Greene feels that the fort can hold. November 15th, Washington leaves Fort Lee to establish headquarters at Hackensack. November 16th, Howe's army storms Fort Washington, and Colonel Robert McCaw surrenders after a heroic battle. Washington watches the battle from Fort Lee, but he can do nothing to help the garrison. The night of November 19th, 1776, a British division embarks on flatboats from Manhattan to attack Fort Lee. At daybreak on November 20th, they land about 5 miles north of Fort Lee. Another British division crosses the Hudson from Yonkers. The British troops climb the Palisades and move towards Fort Lee. The Americans receive word of the British landing and quickly order the evacuation of the garrison at Fort Lee. The landing of British troops near Fort Lee marks the invasion of New Jersey and the beginning of Washington's historic retreat through the Jerseys to the Delaware River.
From here, we ascend to the scenic overlooks, where the panoramic views of the river and New York City's skyline are breathtaking. This is where one can truly appreciate the tactical advantage that Fort Lee provided during the Revolutionary War. We now venture to the reconstructed Revolutionary War encampment, where we can almost hear the drum beats and see the soldiers of yore. Here, the fortifications stand as silent sentinels, guarding the memory of those who fought for liberty. Each structure tells its own story. From the simple log cabins to the defensive earthworks, they all speak of endurance and the spirit of freedom. Imagine the cold winters, the planning of campaigns, and the daily life of the soldiers. But Fort Lee Historic Park is not merely a monument to warfare. It's a celebration of the natural beauty of New Jersey. Trails wind through the park, offering a chance to commune with nature, to reflect on the peace that now reigns where once there was conflict. As we walk these paths, we are reminded that this park is a sanctuary for both history and tranquility. Here, the past and present intertwine, providing a place for education and leisure. And as the sun sinks slowly in the west, we bid a reluctant farewell to Fort Lee Historical Park. This sacred ground where history was made continues to inspire and educate, a testament to the resilience and vision of those who shaped our great nation. Until our next journey into the annals of history, we leave you with these images, these stories, this piece of America's heartland. Good night, and may your travels always lead you to such magnificent places.